We're ready. Good week of practice, really good week of practice. I think you guys, looking at this game in a mature way, and Slovis is ready to roll. Nate Garnell's ready to roll. Nick Patty's ready to roll. So we'll see what happens out there, and we're looking forward to a good game. Questions?
You're outside linebackers, week 1 to week 3. What have you seen out of that group overall? Progress, improvement?
Certainly progress, a lot of progress, which I think happens with game experience. As I told you, I think a week ago, big guy was like, the game is, after game 1 was like, man, the game's a lot different than practice, which it is. It's faster. You can't emulate the speed, and you got to learn how to practice as fast as you can and make quick decisions on what you see. But the one thing that's happening is we've got depth. We feel like, the 2 stars, Bengali and Shane Simon, are really good, and we are not afraid at all to put Solomon DeShields and Tyler Wilson there, Brandon George, and even Nick Labby. So we'll get a mixture. We'll be able to keep them fresh, and we feel confident that they can go in there. We're not going to lose much at all.
You talk about depth. Is this a game where you kind of look at and hope to get those rotational guys even more reps?
If you're fortunate enough, we don't ever plan on that. Like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Rhode Island will come in here; they'll be ready to go, and we got to be ready. And if that happens, that happens. If it doesn't, we've been in games. I showed them a list of all the 1AA opponents. We had Youngstown State in overtime. We played Delaware tight with a backup quarterback, Nick Patty, back in the day. The last 2 years we've been, at least the last Austin P and New Hampshire last year, we took care of business the way you're supposed to. And I think in 20 and 21 we had 2 pretty good football teams like we have now. So, we'll see what happens.
Jaden Bradley is a guy who has flashed potential in years past. What have you seen from him this year, and do you anticipate him getting more looks as the season goes throughout?
Yeah, we'll get Jaden more looks, more opportunities. Just need consistency out of him. He wasn't as consistent as he needed to be last week, and probably half the coach's fault as well as his fault. But he's a guy that claims to know all these positions. I know X, I know Z, I know the F. But he knows them on a piece of paper. But to go out there and execute them fast and with detail, not good enough. So we thought he was a guy who could play all 3. This week we've just said, hey, listen, you're going to know 1, and you're going to be really good at 1, and then we'll slowly. I said, right now you're you think you're the jack of all, master of none. And I said we got to master 1 position, and we'll gradually get you something else. But he's a smart kid. He's got great football IQ. But when it goes fast and you need the details, they haven't been there, but we expect to get that this weekend and onward as we go through the season. Something you learn as a coach. I think Coach Underwood's just continuing to learn every week about who his guys are, what they need, what they don't need.
Izzy took 31 carries last week. He's run for over 100 the last 2. Is there any thought to maybe shortening up his workload this week or giving him a lighter workload? Is there any thought to that?
No. I've been around some great tailbacks. Le'Veon Bell, I think he carried the ball 40 times, and Le'Veon Bell was never asking for, a break. So, that's what he's got to get used to, and we think he can handle it.
Now, you guys have 8 sacks, which isn't bad, but you guys are used to getting 50 in the season. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from your pass rush so far this year?
We've missed a lot. I bet you we missed 3 last week. John Morgan comes in, inside twice, really 3 times probably, and he gets so anxious and he's so quick twitched that he thinks he can just beat him anyway. We got to play within the framework, but I bet you we have as many missed tackles in the backfield for sacks as we do sacks, and they get anxious, they want to go make plays, but you gotta be smart about how you do it. So we'll get it cleaned up, and we put pressure on the quarterback. We've hit him a lot, and whoever it's been, but we've got to be more detailed. We let the quarterback get out of the pocket. We're just giving him away. Even on the one pass Salopek had last week where he threw it kind of down our sideline, maybe for a 15-yard gain. It should have been a sack. We let him get out of the pocket, and then we put our coverage in jeopardy when we do that based on that coverage we were in that down. So we're giving them away, and they got to stop giving them away.
Is part of that your off-ball linebackers kind of figuring out the chemistry? Because a lot of times you guys would have Phil, John, and those guys kind of bring the contain at the right moments. Is that just pacing and chemistry at that point?
Yeah, it all depends on what the coverage is. I think, it depends on what the coverage we're in, and I don't think the backers have been bad as far as, being secondary contained. I think they've been pretty good. I haven't seen that. It's more of those, those guys, just paying attention to the details and not getting, it's just like receivers rushing around. These DNs are rushing it, and the ball's getting out quicker. People know that we've been pretty good sacking the quarterback, so they're going to get the ball out quick, which should be good for our coverage as well if they have to throw quick.
How
How
do you
would you
coach it?
evaluate your kickers' efforts against Western Michigan and this week in practice?
Again, first of all, Ben's been outstanding of kicking the ball, kickoffs. He's been a little bit, inconsistent in games. I think he's missed 3 in the last 2 games, which, he kicks a 46 or 48 yarder, and then misses a smaller chip shot one. We expect more consistency. I think we'll get it. And then when you look at practice this week, he's kicked 12 balls and he's been 100%. I don't know if I've ever seen a kicker go 100% in practice. In fact, he went 5 for 5 today with the wind blowing 13, 14, 15, 20 miles an hour today. And he was playing the wind, and that ball's going like this. It was unbelievable, and he put them all through. So it was a good day. We know Hines can get a little windy as well.
How
Or Acru, sure.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could catch it. Yeah.
how do you coach missed sacks out of you guys? What do you have to do to get them to be under control and make the tackle?
It's not a matter of missing. It wasn't last week. It wasn't a matter of being under control and just grabbing and missing. It was a matter of getting up to the depth of the quarterback. I mean, John took a couple chances, and again, he loves to get to the quarterback. But he's countering at 3 yards. Well, the quarterback's at 6, 7 yards. You got to get up to that depth and counter first. So just tell them to relax, and the sacks will come. They get so anxious, they want to get more. Just like you want more. You're obviously into the sack totals. You want more. You just got to be patient. Just be patient. So they got to be patient. They got to take what's given to them. Don't just try to go make a play and really mess up everybody else.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like you didn't use the delta as much in third down situations where maybe in the past you would have, 3rd and 6, 7, even 10. You seem to stay in your base defense a decent amount on Saturday night. Was that just Western Michigan just trying to adjust to what they were doing?
It's all based on what they're doing, and again, we go into are they going to run in the pass? If we think there's a chance of running it, we'd rather be in base. So it comes down to we call it sequencing. If it's 3rd and 6 and they got there in 2 down territory, where we know there's a possibility based on the breakdown and what we feel they're doing, then we're going to play a good run defense as well as we think our base 4 down is good versus run and the pass. We don't feel like it's not good, and then when it gets down to a 3rd down and long, very few times will we not be in some type of sub package on 3rd down and extra long or long. But it all depends on where the ball is on the field. So we do a lot based on field position and what they're doing based on field position. So it comes down to what the opponent's doing.
I think Solomon DeShields, you were talking about him earlier, he had a sack out of the delta kind of late in the game. Can a play like that, sort of a player's first big play, be kind of a catalyst, like a jumping off point now that he's experienced actually making the play?
No question. I mean, he missed one earlier in the year. I forget which game it was, maybe Tennessee or West Virginia. He missed one, and he was upset about it. He couldn't wait to get one, so he was waiting. And and again, I think you got to miss one sometimes just to get one. And so it's a learning experience. I think Bengali missed one as well. So those new young guys are, learning throughout these first 3 or 4 weeks.
How much of a coach's game day week, not just you, but the whole staff, is taken up by recruiting?
We talk recruiting every staff meeting when we get in here as a staff, so it's always something, whether it's the visitors that are coming this weekend and phone calls. We go through phone calls. I mean, we go through who we've talked to this week. I mean, there's, I couldn't tell you the hours. Today we spent time, evaluating prospects that are either coming this weekend or new guys that our recruiting offices dug up that we want to get an evaluation on, written evaluation on.
Do you have it seems like, constant communication with the recruits is key. You have to maintain those relationships. Do you have, it's almost kind of silly, but almost like quotas for like, okay, Taekwon, you need to make sure you're talking to this kid every day, or you need to have at least 4 messages to this kid every week or something like that? I mean, how detailed are you about it?
Well, we don't have any quotas, but we're only allowed 1 phone call per week. Okay, now that we can text a kid, and our coaches get extra phone calls by saying, hey, Chris, just call me. Call me at 5 o'clock today, or hey, what time's free for you? So we get those extra phone calls in that way where the kids are calling us, but we're allowed 1 a week, and we haven't split up who we're calling every week. So I know exactly who I'm calling. Coach Borbley knows he's calling, so we've got, it's really pretty organized.
Are text messages unlimited?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You have an ace communicator, like a guy you're like, hey, we want this guy to talk to a certain person that you on the staff that you prefer to talk to certain guys?
No, I mean, I think you always want to split it up, whether it's an offensive coordinator getting a hold of an offensive player, defensive coordinator getting a hold of a player, the head coach is trying to touch everybody. I don't just call the same guy. You share the love, and you want to make sure there's never just one guy that's always in constant communication with the player. That happens sometimes, if that coach leaves, all of a sudden he lost everything. So you want to have multiple people getting in touch with these guys, feeling like they've got a relationship with more than just one guy.
How much of those tactics are things that you've always had, or things that you've learned while you're here?
All stuff that we've always had. I mean, I think it's just stuff you do through the years, and nothing different than we're doing. Year 8 compared to year 1.
Do you get surprised much in recruiting? Kid commits to you or commits to another school. I mean, when was the last time you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming? Or you usually have a pretty good feel for where
We have a
things are
pretty good
headed.
feel. We pretty much, we're not sitting around waiting on the 23rd of, say, September. We're not waiting around. We kind of have an idea what's going on. Pretty good communication.
Anything final?
I know Coach Griffin won't be here this weekend, but any plans to catch up with some old friends from Rhode Island before the game?
No, not before the game. Maybe after the game if they wait outside the locker room. But got things to do, and first thing after a game I want to go see my family. But that's time. That's summertime. If you're going to see somebody, it's just hard. It's hard. After I get done with you guys, I'll be the last guy in the locker room. Most people are gone after that, so it's tough. Just don't have time. There's a lot of people that say, "Hey, I'm going to come by the office tomorrow." I'm like, "No, you're not. There's no time."
Andre Powell talked to us about how.
My abs.
Yes, he did talk to us about your abs.
Yeah, do you want to offer a
EJ told
rebuttal?
me that yesterday. Thanks,
You want a rebuttal?
He
on
never
that?
had the abs.
Oh,
He was the same. Just kidding. But I laughed with him today when I heard that. That was funny.
that was funny. We all were like, wow.
That was quick too. He was really quick with that.
It was. But I wanted to ask you about the running concepts. He talked about how it's a little different this year because Frank has worked in a lot of concepts that are the same in the style of the run, but they differ because there's so many different alignments and formations.
Right.
How have you seen that translate for your guys up front and in the backfield as far as processing that and working that formation to formation?
They've done a great job. We got different ways of getting it. We get plays when we don't have to check it. We don't want to check it. We're going to run it and call it and go. But you need to have those in your run game if you want to be a successful run game. We've not had that here the last 3 years. It was call it, and if we're running to the right and they have 3 guys blitzing off that edge, it's a bad play. And everybody's looking at us like, "What's wrong with the run game?" Well, I haven't said that in the past, but we have more tools to make sure we're getting in a good run play and not in a bad one. Cool. Same thing in the pass game as well.
Marquez Williams also was talking to us about how you guys had certain keys to alert on the bubble screens that Western Michigan had. That was something that they used against you guys last year, and you guys took it away. How much have you seen guys like Marquez, you guys that have been around with their film study, to take away things that they saw last year as problems in you guys' defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think they always have tools, in the secondary to take care of those things. I think it's always tough. That's why I like playing a team more than once. I mean, if you look at just playing Tennessee twice, or really, if you talk to Central Florida twice and then Tennessee, what they do, how they do it, you always have better keys when you're playing someone more than just once. And Rhode Island's another one of those teams. We don't know what they're going to come out. What's their plan versus our defense? Our pressure, whatever it may be. You don't know how they're going to react. So, if you played Rhode Island the second time, you're always going to have more answers. And okay, if they do this now, we know what we're seeing. But it's hard. You're watching tape against again, we had a 5-game breakdown. You're watching games this year, and you're watching Elon from 2021, and you just don't know how they're going to. All these other defenses are different than what we are. Every defense is different, and so they'll have their plan, and then we'll have to adjust to it as we go. But sometimes the details can't be worked out in the middle of a game. It's just too much, and you're afraid to tweak it to the point where you give up something something big otherwise.
Tim Salem has talked about coming in here on Saturday night after a game and starting to work on the next week's opponent. Is that unusual for your staff? Do you have Saturday night meetings?
I haven't seen him in here on a Saturday. Okay, Tim's always got some interesting things, but we all have computers and iPads, and we grade our tape from home, so there's no sense to come in on Saturday after the game. It's not mandatory. I go home.
Yeah.
I go home for sure. That's why I like a noon game. I actually will see my family this week. I didn't see him at 3:00 in the morning when I got home last week.
On top of abs, Andre also talked to us about how you were always just kept active, like you would be building closets and doing stuff all the time.
I didn't hear that one, EJ.
just wanted to add, just as far as like your mentality, you talk about how your mind's always just working. How does that translate to from when you were younger to now you're a head coach, an experienced head coach, and you have to maybe shift that to other like head duties?
Well, I think that's what it's amazing. I think that's what a head coach has got to do. He can't just be looking at life through a straw, not seeing the big picture and everything that goes on. Like after practice, I got so many recordings on my recorder or my phone of just little things I see out there that, sometimes the ops guys are like, how did you see that? What made you but that's kind of what you do. And it's the same thing, you did as a defensive coordinator or linebacker coach. You're just always trying to, it's the details. It's the details in everything we do, whether it's recruiting or practice, meetings, whatever it may be. It's all those little things that matter, I think.
I mean, is it even, just walking around the building? Are you always looking for what can be better?
Ask LaSalle. Things I see, like I walk by that team picture in the bottom right-hand corner. It's not, the new team picture on the backside of they changed it twice, and then the second time I'm like, it still doesn't look good. Fix that. It's what does the building look like? I mean, everything. It's just everything. What's the appearance of the building? Everything makes an impact. It doesn't matter whether recruits are here or not. The details matter and everything. And I'm kind of, I guess, maybe OCD. I don't know. I got issues probably. Someone would probably say I need to go see a doctor.
Are you like that when you're away from the facility too, or do you kind of just turn it off when you go home?
Yeah, no, it's same thing at home. Probably drive people nuts there. But first thing I said Sunday morning when I got up, I saw our bocce court had some weeds in it, and I was like, Patrick, will you go pull those weeds this weekend? It just annoys me to see the weeds are in the bocce court. Might be able to play some bocce Saturday after the game. I want to make sure it doesn't have any weeds. I don't want to be pulling weeds after the game.
You got to keep a clean surface. That's important.
Yeah, you can't have grass on the bocce court.
Are you the bocce champion of the Narduzzi family?
No
I
MVR
don't
for
play
you.
enough. I don't play enough.
No MVR for you back in Youngstown.
No.
I was gonna
We should have a bocce. We should have a media bocce tournament one day.
listen.
I'm up for that.
I used to compete. I'm serious.
You're pretty good.